What's up, guys? PowerManiac720 here, and today I have for you part 4 of 6 of my Pseudo-Legendary Analysis, and today's analysis is on Garchomp, which is Sinnoh's pseudo-legendary Pokemon. So, as we've done, we'll first start by looking at the base stats, which of course add up to 600 as its requirement for Pseudo-Legendaries. Garchomp has base 108 hit points, base 130 attack, base 95 defense, base 80 special attack, base 85 special defense, and base 102 speed. So of course, right off the bat, looking at this, you see decent defenses, with 108 being fairly bulky. I'm pretty sure 108 is the bulkiest of the pseudo-legendaries we've looked at so far. 95, 85, respectable, not fantastic, but certainly usable. I mean, it's not Mega Absol defenses, certainly. I mean, definitely a Pokemon that's going to take a couple of hits. It's not a Pokemon that's going to die to very many neutral hits, I guess is a good way to put it. Also, that base 130 attack, which is right on par with the other pseudo-legendaries. They're at 130 to 135 range, so Garchomp's right there. The thing that separates Garchomp from the other pseudo-legendaries, and the reason that it is right now the most popular Pokemon in VGC 14, it has been for the last couple of years, always pretty much in the top 5 in usage, is that base 102 speed. So that base 102 lets it, of course, outspeed all the other pseudo-legendaries, and it lets it outspeed a lot of the popular metagame. It outspeeds Zapdos, it outspeeds Charizard Y, all the Charizards are base 100, outspeeds Mega Kangaskhan, outspeeds Salamence, which is huge. So it's really in its own kind of little speed tier there, whereas it's just, if you run Jolly Max speed, you're going to outspeed so much, and that's just so crucial. And that's why Garchomp is so popular. So, one thing that is different from Garchomp as compared to the other 3 pseudo-legendaries we looked at is its special attack is only base 80, and so I don't really ever see anyone use a special Garchomp. There are some like OU sets or something that have like a mixed Garchomp and they give it Fire Blast or something with a naive nature. But VGC wise, Garchomp is not a Pokemon you normally see or ever see as a special attacker. So we're going to look at some facts about Garchomp. It is a Dragon Ground type with the ability Sand Veil and the hidden ability Rough Skin. Rough Skin the more popular option just because it's a nice way to get some chip damage or break some sashes or whatever with some physical Pokemon. Really nice with Rocky Helmet to deal with Pokemon like Kangaskhan, especially if you predict a nice switch-in. Kangaskhan hits you twice, it loses over half its HP right there. It 4 times resists nothing. It 2 times resists fire, poison, and rock. It's neutral to water, grass, ground, normal, flying, psychic, steel, ghost, dark, fighting, and bug. It's 2 times weak to fairy and dragon, 4 times weak to ice, and it's immune to electric because of that ground typing. One thing looking at this is Garchomp really doesn't resist anything. The nice thing is that 2 of its resists, fire and rock, are huge in this metagame. A lot of rock sides running around. And fire, of course, for a Pokemon like Ferrothorn, Aegislash. So it does resist 2 of the more popular types. However, it's also weak to fairy, which is very popular. Dragon, which is, most teams have a dragon type, and most teams have an ice type specifically to deal with Garchomp. Garchomp, according to sweepercalc.com, is on 36% of teams. So just to give you an idea of its popularity, which is 4% higher than Mega Kangaskhan, just to give you an idea how popular Garchomp is. So, pretty short page here on Garchomp. Its uses, Garchomp's a pretty straightforward Pokemon. There really isn't too much variation on how people use it, and most of the variation occurs just with items and spread. It's not like something like Tyranitar where you can run special, physical, mix, scarf. For the most part, Garchomp is just like straightforward. You're gonna run a Jolly Nature, 252 speed, and then you do some people go 252 attack, and some people do some funky things to the spreads to survive, like HP Ice from Timid Manectric, or like a Dragon Pulse from a Timid Salamence. Maybe survive some sort of physical attack that's super effective, like an Ice Shard from a Mamoswine. So that's kind of interesting to me, just because Garchomp has so. I just realized I have a typo. I put Garchomps with 2 S's. I think that's what's interesting the most to me to Garchomp is the fact that it has so few uses, I guess. Not few uses, but it has so few variations, and yet it's the most popular of all the pseudo-legendaries, all the most popular Pokemon in the metagame, and it really is just, you kind of know what you're expecting with a Garchomp. Very rarely do people do something different. Some people go like substitute to be, do some cool things with leftovers, but I mean, it's not something you see very often. Most of the time you see a Garchomp, you kind of know what to expect. So, like I was just talking about, the standard Garchomp, very straightforward, 252 Jolly, so you can at least speed tie the other Garchomp and outspeed all the other base 100s, like I said, Charizard, Kangaskhan, Zapdos, Salamence, etc. Some people opt for a spread that sacrifice some EVs in order to survive attacks like HP Ice or Timid, Mega Manetric. So a really popular spread, the second most popular spread on Garchomp besides 252, is 12 HP, 204 attack, 4 defense, 36 special defense, and 252 speed, which does survive Timid, HP Ice from Manetric 100% of the time. So, more about standard Garchomp, which I forgot the D in standard. Rough night for me, I guess. Some people use Life Orb, which I think is a really interesting item on it, and it's an item that's really picked up popularity lately. I saw a lot of Life Orb Garchomps in LCQ, and on the stream, I remember seeing quite a few watching the World stream, a couple at least. I know that Judy Azzarelli used Life Orb on his Garchomp. He was second place in LCQ, or in the Worlds. And of course, like I said, standard 252 is the most common. Most people will run Dragon Claw, Earthquake, Rock Slide, and Protect. Although some people do opt for, I have seen Iron Head and Poison Jab to deal with fairies, or Stone Edge just for some more power other than Rock Slide. Rock Slide's nice on Garchomp though because it outspeeds so much of the metagame because of its nice little speed tier there at 102. So you can get some nice flinches which can really turn a match around. I normally only see Iron Head or Poison Jab if you see a Scarfed Garchomp, which I don't personally see very often, or if you see or an Assault Vest, which I've seen a couple lately. I was surprised. I hit it with an Ice Beam, and it took away like barely over half, and I was like, what's going on here? This is weird. And it turns out the guy had an Assault Vest. So, of course, with Garchomp came Mega Garchomp. Well, with the release of XY came Mega Garchomp. So looking at its stats, you have 108 HP, stays the same, 170 attack, 115 defense, 120 special attack, 95 special defense, and 92 speed. So if you look at the stats, it got a 40-point increase in attack, a 30-point increase in defense. Oh no, it was 95, so 20-point increase in defense. It got a 40-point increase in attack, a 10-point increase in special defense, and it got, this is what hurts Mega Garchomp, is it got a minus 10, or a 10-point decrease in speed. So that really hurts Mega Garchomp. So like I said, this X and Y came Mega Garchomp. The design was cool, and it had a fabulously pink shiny, unlike the boring, like same colored shiny of regular Garchomp. It's just not as popular as, it really isn't very popular at all. It has a lot more bulk, and it has an insane through-the-roof attack stat, one of the highest in the games, in the metagame. And of course, Sand Force, if you run it with a Tyranitar, it just can destroy teams with Rock Slides and Earthquakes and Iron Heads. However, the reason Garchomp is so popular is its base 102 speed is so nice because there's nothing like it. I mean, it outspeeds so much of its threats, and it's a Pokemon that, if it was base 100 like Salamence, you would not see as many Garchomp. Garchomp would be a much less popular Pokemon because then it could be countered by things like Zapdos more easily because Zapdos could speed tie it. And that's just a huge part of Garchomp's, what makes Garchomp Garchomp. So taking 10 speed away is not something that you want to do. I guess Game Freak was just trying to make it bulkier and trying to make it a little, I mean, I guess if you kept it at 102 speed, it'd be pretty OP and probably like basically like Kangaskhan used in that sense. Because even without the Sand Force boost, it's still such an insanely high attack stat. So I'm going to show you kind of a typical Mega Garchomp, and then I'm going to show you the one I run, which is not typical. So, usually Mega Garchomp is going to run Adamant and bulky rather than Jolly and Speedy, and it's got that awkward base 92 speed, so it kind of puts it in between like the base 80, 90, 100 range, which is weird because it's not really fast enough to outspeed. I guess if you ran Jolly Max Speed, you would outspeed a lot of those like uninvested base 100s, but at the same time, you do that, and then they are also invested in speed, and then you're less bulky, and so they just take you out anyway. So I think most people, for the most part, will run Adamant and Bulk. With its ability Sand Force, it gets all Rock, Steel, and Ground type moves get a 33% boost when in the sand. I didn't write that, but it only gets the boost in the sand, which is why Tyranitar is a good Pokemon, because you don't need to set the sand like you do. I guess you don't need to set weather with anything, but you don't need to set the sand, which is nice. It's auto set for you. And so you most of the time you're gonna want to run. I mean, you want to run Protect on most Pokemon, especially since you can't give this Pokemon a choice anything because it's a Mega. So your 3 attacks should be some combination of Dragon Claw, Earthquake, Rock Slide, Stone Edge, and Iron Head. Dragon Claw and Earthquake seem pretty obvious because they're both stab, plus Earthquake gets the Sand Force boost. So then it kind of comes down to Rock Slide, Stone Edge, Iron Head, and it really just depends on what your team needs. If your team's really very weak, like throw out an Iron Head, and all of a sudden in the sand that's going to 1-hit KO pretty much all the fairies, especially because all the fairies are so defensively weak. But if you're having trouble, maybe like Mega Charizard Y, then Stone Edge is probably your pick. And because Mega Garchomp is base 92 and you're probably going to run bulky, Talonflame is a great teammate since it has that Tailwind. Or you could go with Aerodactyl possibly, because it'll get that nice sand boost, the 1.5 sand boost, and it can also set Tailwind, and it's a fast Rock Slider, which can definitely, like I said, help. So now we're going to kind of look at my Garchomp that I run, which I personally love. So as I mentioned, Garchomp has 120 base special attack, which if you think about it, that's pretty monstrous. I mean, that's above a lot of the meta. I mean, that's 10 points ahead Salamence, and people use a timid Salamence. So I saw that and I was like, what special moves does Garchomp get? And it doesn't get Dragon Pulse this gen, which I think is a little weird. It doesn't get it as an egg move. It's only a move tutor move. So I could not have Dragon Pulse. So I thought maybe I'll run Draco Meteor. And then I thought, well, I mean, if I run Draco Meteor, then like I get that special attack drop, and I don't really like that. I had never liked moves like that and Overheat and Leaf Storm, which is why I'm not a big Rotom Heat fan. That's why I like Rotom Wash the most out of all the Rotom forms. So I thought, alright, I'm going to run a Quiet Garchomp so I get that nice special attack boost. And then I figure I can run Mix with Dragon Claw because its regular attack is so outrageously high that even with no investment and a neutral nature, it's still deadly. And also, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I think my Dragonite video, you can use faster, higher speed Pokemon in Trick Room because this metagame is so hyper-offensive. Everything is so fast and geared towards speed, so you can whip out your 0 speed Quiet Garchomp and outspeed so many things on so many teams with it. So I ran a Quiet 0 speed Garchomp. I run this in-game, and like I said, it's got the 120 special attack, so I run Dragon Claw, Flamethrower, Surf, and Protect. Those are pretty much like Flamethrower and Surf, like the only like good special moves it gets. It also gets Fire Blast. But I opted not to run Fire Blast. I figured Flamethrower, I'm one of those guys who, if I can get away with it, I prefer to go for accuracy over power because I want to eliminate chance as much as I can from the game. And I've been running this in a Trick Room, and it's just been working really well. I originally ran it in Rain Room, which was nice because it got a nice Surf boost, but then I decided that was kind of boring because then I lost my Flamethrower boost. So I just kind of run in a regular Trick Room now, and it's really nice because people will burn it thinking, it's Mega Garchomp, gotta like neutralize it immediately. And then all of a sudden I whip out a Flamethrower or a Surf, and they're just like, whoa. So, another thing that's interesting with Garchomp, or Mega Garchomp in particular, is when you Mega Evolve, your speed is what you were the turn you Mega Evolved. So you can kind of play the match with regular Garchomp, and then on a turn that maybe you need that power boost, you can Mega Evolve, but keep your 102 speed for that one turn, which can be huge. So you can kind of play it as Garchomp the whole way, and then like when you need it, you can Mega Evolve if you ever need it. Because Garchomp, you don't really, it's obviously nice to have an item, but it's not a Pokemon that needs an item per se. So you can play the match without an item and just kind of play with your Garchomp site. Garchomp site? I don't know what it's called. Garchomp site, I think. And that's just a huge advantage because then you basically get Garchomp speed with Mega Garchomp power for one turn at least, which can really could seal a match for you. You know, that could be what you need to KO that Mega Manectric, or that Rock Slide on something that's a little bulkier. So, looking at item choices, if you look at SweeperCalc's website, the top 5 most popular items are Lumberry, Rocky Helmet, Focus Sash, Choice Scarf, and Life Orb. So Lumberry is really nice because, of course, in this metagame, especially in the beginning, it was very physically oriented, so everyone was carrying Burn or Will-O-Wisp to burn Pokemon. So Lumberry is nice because it gives you at least one free turn of not being burned, because they burn you, you get your Lumberry, and who knows, maybe next turn they miss, so now you get Lumberry bought you at least a turn, maybe 2, maybe 3. Rocky Helmet, of course, is a great item with Rough Skin because it takes away a good chunk of HP. I don't remember the exact percentage, but it takes away a really good chunk of HP. And it can really, like I said, huge against something like Kangaskhan, where all of its moves are physical. Something I used to do is I would lead with a ghost like AG Slash and something else that wasn't a ghost if I saw Kangaskhan on team. And I would switch out the non-ghost Pokemon that I had, so Kangaskhan would fake it out, and it would do minimal damage to my Garchomp, because fake out's not that powerful a move. But then the Kangaskhan would lose over half his HP, and so then I was able to Earthquake or Dragon Claw the Kangaskhan next turn and KO it, and I was going to outspeed it because I'm base 102. So some other options for Garchomp: Assault Vest, which I spelled wrong, wow. Yachi Berry, Rosalie Berry, Bright Power, or of course the Mega Stone. So the Assault Vest is nice just because it's weak to Fairy and Dragon and Ice, and most Ice moves that you see are going to be Ice Beam, which are special. The Fairy moves you're going to see are most likely going to be Moonblast, which of course is special. And you see Dragon Pulse and Dracos, so you can maybe EV to survive that with an Assault Vest. Yachi Berry is nice because most people carry some sort of Ice-type move to take out your Garchomp. Rosalie Berry, same concept. If they're not having an Ice-type move, they have a Fairy-type move, or they probably have both to take out Garchomp. Bright Powder is great with Sandveil. Sandveil is an ability that raises Garchomp's evasion in Sandstorm, and Bright Powder doesn't raise evasion. It Bright Power raises or lowers your opponent's accuracy to 0.9 of what it was. So 100 accuracy moves become 90 accuracy. 90 accuracy moves become 81 accuracy. So it's really nice because it really can change a game. If people are expecting some sort of crazy clever or people are expecting to go right at you with like an Ice Beam to end it, or like a Play Rough, and all of a sudden it misses because you got Bright Powder and Sandveil working for you. And I forgot to mention, Focus Sash is great because so many people EV their Pokemon to one-hit KO Garchomp, so it's nice to get that at least one extra turn, which could of course mean that you take out the threat with that one extra turn. Choice Scarf can be nice because you can outspeed Salamence with it, Scarf Salamence, Scarf Hydreigon, and KO them. And Life Orb, of course, because a lot of people run a Garchomp that has less attack in order to EV to survive other attacks, and that Life Orb kind of brings it back to that high attack stat that you want from Garchomp. So hopefully you enjoyed this analysis on regular Garchomp as well as Mega Garchomp. Like I said, one of the most popular Pokemon in the metagame. Actually, if you want to check out SweeperCalc real quick, whoops, I have it up right here. So as you can see, Garchomp is used on 36.23521% of teams. 92 of them run Rough Skin. 77.6% run Sandveil, and as I said, Lumberry, hugely popular, almost twice as popular as Rocky Helmet, which is second, which is almost twice as popular as Focus Sash, which is almost twice as popular as Choice Scarf, and there's kind of a jumble between Life Orb, Yachi, Garchompite. Oh, it is Garchompite. Some people run it Band. I tried Choice Band, which isn't bad. Habenberry for the super effective Dragon moves. Leftovers, which is usually what you see on like a substitute Garchomp. And of course, looking at the spreads, most popular one, Jolly 252, 252. But in a distant second is the spread I showed you, which survives Timid HP Ice from Timid Manectric's HP Ice. And of course, looking at the most popular moves, 98% of Garchomp run Earthquake and 93% run Dragon Claw, while 89% run Rock Slide and 85% run Protect. So it's pretty obvious these are clearly the most popular moves, because then after this 85%, you drop down to 5% for Iron Head, 4.9% for Sword Stance, 3% for Poison Jab, and then 19% for Other. So hopefully you enjoyed this analysis. Stay tuned for Hydreigon, which is personally my second favorite Pseudo-Legendary and my favorite Unova Pokemon. That should be coming up the next couple days. I'll also be posting some battle videos of me on BattleSpot, because I got a new SD card today after mine crapped the bed for some reason, probably because I'm not very tech savvy and I broke it somehow. So tell your friends about my channel. Hope you liked it. Comment with anything I could do better or anything you want to see in the future. And goodbye.